Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We are, of course, your multi-award winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We're not only turning the corner, are we accelerating away from the corner? If you're doing it for the very first time, you're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're across all major audio platforms. We're back, fabulous returning panel, picking their timings. Richard Cracknell is back, Compare's in the house, just as we've turned the corner. I wonder if that is conspicuous in any way. Crackers, how are you?
Keep the energy up, Rick. Come on, you got to keep this vibe going now. All the way through, hour and a half at that level. No slacking. Come on.
I'm surprised you found the entrance.
Nearly knocked me off my seat. All good. Evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. For those watching live and those listening back on your wirelesses. That's how old I am. And Spurs win. What a thing to come back to. What a thing. Keep it going, Tottenham. I'm going Nottingham on Sunday. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, please. Thank you.
Also back on the show, here, there, quite frankly, everywhere. Darren Hart's in the house. Dal, how are you? Lovely to be back on the show.
I'm good. Happy to be here. You know me, I take a little gap. I go on international duty and then I'm back. I'm back in the building. Good to be back, team. Good to be back.
Lovely to have you back here. And also Luke is back on Last One on Spurs. Luke's putting a real stint for us here. We had a lot of love for Luke in his last few shows. So Luke's the man. He's not only Archie Gray this season, being thrown back in like a real first teamer. Luke, lovely to have you back here. How are you, bud?
Yeah, cheers, mate. I'm sure people will get sick of the sight of me soon, which is happens quite frequently. But no, glad to be back, delighted to be back. And talking about a Tottenham win, what more can you ask for, right?
Absolutely.
Rick, Luke looks like he's coming from Imelda Marcus's wardrobe, doesn't he? Look at how many pairs of shoes. If you don't know Imelda Marcus, kids, ask your granddad. But yeah, lots of shoes.
I was about to say, he's been doing this for a couple of months with us, Cracks. Give him 6.5 years like the rest of us. We'll be, everyone knows what the effect of this show does to everybody. Look, out there, if you're listening, liking the show, please hit the like button. That will allow you into the chat to interact with us and the wonderful gentlemen and obviously lovely women that are in the chat as well. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button, hype as well. Hype the show to share it out to a wide range Spurs audience. Look, Spurs, it's been a pretty good last 4 days. 2 wins at home, 2 clean sheets. Xavi involved in 3 goals. Kudus scoring his first Champions League goal. Heung-min Son returning home. We've got that brilliant interview to bring to you in this show. And James Maddison back on the grass. It did finish for Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Slavia Prague 0. David Zima's own goal was followed by second half penalties from Mohammed, Kudus and Xavi Simons. Spurs barely needed to get out of second gear, but we didn't need to. A Spurs win again in, of course, N17 and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's now unbeaten in 23 home matches in the Champions League. We're up to 9th in the Champions League table. 11 points was enough to reach the playoffs last season, and that is what Thomas Frank's side are currently on. Match facts and stats. Tottenham 3, Slavia Prague 0. Tottenham 16 shots to Slavia Prague's 12. Tottenham 10 shots on target to Slavia Prague's 5. Tottenham 13 shots inside the box to Slavia Prague's 5. 32 touches in Prague's box compared to the 17. Tottenham 56 final third entries compared to the 32 of Slavia Prague. They were the busier of the 2 goalkeepers, Slavia Prague 8-5. Tottenham edging the corner count 8-3. Spurs also edging possession 53% to 47%. And also alongside that, Tottenham registering once again quite a significant positive XG figure, 2.62 to 1.05. Cracks, will open with you. It is 2 home wins at home in 4 days for Thomas Frank's Tottenham after 1 win in their last 6. A solid performance against a side that, with all due respect, did leave the door wide open for us on a number of occasions to run up the scoreline. But I think a continuation of decent tweaks in possession for Thomas Frank's Tottenham. There was decent, I would say, build-up play, chance creation overall. What did you make, Cracks, of that 3-0 win up against Slavia Prague?
Yeah, it's what we needed, Rick, wasn't it? After the doldrums and the what we've been going through lately, it's exactly what's needed, and building again on a couple of previous performances which have been better. From the game itself, something I was pointed out to me on X just before we come on air, and the point I was going to make, my only thing that I would say was maybe a little bit of naivety, because we did let them in a few times. So against better opposition, we could have well seen ourselves concede a couple of goals if they wasn't so wasteful. So that's something just to be mindful of. They're not a great side. We done our job, but there was a couple of moments where you've just thought to yourself, you come up against a Madrid or a PSG or a couple of the domestic sides that we could face in this competition, and there's every chance that they take a couple of those chances. So but that's nitpicking, Rick, because given where we was, you taking that tonight, there was a lot of good energy in the performance. Xavi again tonight, accused of being lightweight when he first came in, and tonight up against a bruising old Moses this evening, but really put it on him, and he came through that performance. He chewed it up and spat it out, so that's brilliant to see. That's more progress that you want to see from that type of player. Smiling this evening as well, playing with a smile on his face, enjoying his football, enjoying his time at Spurs. Brilliant from the club during the week with Michael Dawson and Ledley King, taking him round a few old haunts of Tottenham, the Antwerp and Chick King. So what else do you need to know about Tottenham? But that's lovely to see, and just between us four and the thousands watching, I did speak with Michael Dawson. I texted him a couple of days ago and said, mate, that was a brilliant video. And he said, yeah, he's a really good lad. He's a good kid. And, he wants to get on. He wants to do well. He's only 22 years old. Let's not forget that. But he's a bright young lad. He's a lad that obviously speaks Dutch, English, bit of French, Spanish as well. So he's got a good head on his shoulders, and you can see that progress from him and one or two others. So it just looks like something's brewing now, Rick, for me. Brand new manager, new philosophies, new ways of playing, new players coming through. And there's some ballers in that team. There really is. So if that continues, then we're on to something. But that's a stiff test. A stiffer test comes on Sunday. So let's see how we do there. But hey, for tonight, brilliant. And to see Sonny, which we will touch upon as well. I'm just wondering who got more airtime off of TNT this evening. Sonny, the cameras keep panning to Sonny in the stands, or one of our own Christina in the corner, fangirling with her mobile phone, taking pictures at corners every 2 minutes. Evening, Christina. But no, brilliant. What a reception he got. And it was lovely as well to see the reception that Ben Davies got when he come on, who's a real favourite of mine. Every team needs a Ben Davies, that type of player, the older, wiser statesman, if you like, in a team, and brilliant servant for the club. He just doesn't get his flowers, I think they call it, the kids, don't know, or his props as much as he should. And he came on and got a rapturous applause. So it felt just like a good Tottenham night tonight. It was a good family night. No rows over the remote control in the stadium this evening. So good stuff. Brilliant.
Cracks, love to be back alongside us here. Love to have you back alongside us after a win. Dow bringing you in. Look, back-to-back wins for Spurs at home, and I'm beating them 3-0 for Thomas Frank's Tottenham. I think overall that was an encouraging display. There was actually some inverting of fullbacks made as a tactical addition by Thomas Frank. credit to Xavi. You know, he's come out fighting since he's unlocked this confidence, of course, in that previous game that we saw. He waits 19 appearances to get off the mark for Spurs. Then he gets 2 in 2. And quite interesting, a really interesting stat. All of 8 of Tottenham's wins in all comps this season have come when Xavi Simons has started for Tottenham. Really interesting stat. Dal, thoughts on the game? What did you make of it?
It was a good game for where we're at right now. We needed a match like this because our attacking threat has been our issue this season. The way in which we moved the ball in the final third, the creativity hasn't been there. And we started off building a fortress at the back and being strong. And now we can see that that's not been as strong as it used to be as we started the season. But that's because we're trying to be a bit more expansive the other end. And I think it is going to be one of those periods now for Spurs fans where it's half full, half empty. And some people are going to look at it and go, oh, we didn't defend well today, as Cracks highlighted, and against a better side, we would have got punished. The way I'm going to kind of go is just for the sake of how we pod, is look at the other side of that and go, we were allowed to be a bit more expansive because they weren't a side that we feared as much. They went man to man. And with man-to-man, you've got to trust your individual flair. And we saw that today. Simons wanting the ball to feet, going, give it to me. I'm better than the guy behind me. He's going to chase my shadow. Give it to my feet and let me do something. And you saw the likes of Kudus growing confidence on the ball. You watched Richarlison making the runs that allowed him. And I know we spoke about the physicality of Xavi, which is, again, on the screen. And I personally have not worried about him being physical enough. My thing has always been, are we going to create a system that can accommodate a 10? A lot of sides find it hard to play a 10 because they're a bit of a luxury player. If they're not getting the ball, you lose them and you lose a player and you suddenly feel like you're playing with 10. Today was a great game for a confidence build of Simons, but also for the players around him. The more you play with your 10, link in play, and you understanding that when he gets it, get on your bike. He's going to flick it to you. He's going to play the passes. You start to grow in confidence with each other. And that's going to help us, as Crack alluded to, when we play teams that are of a better standard. That's when we're going to need to have that understanding, to have that cohesion and connection of play that we're going to need. But we can't get it instantly. We're going to get it in games like today where we build off of that momentum, build off that confidence. Like not having Kolo Muani start today. You look and go, okay, Richie had to do a little bit more work up top today. And the work that he put in was different to what Kolo Muani does. And everyone's starting to understand each other better. And I also feel that Frank is starting to understand them better. That's been part of my concern is, has he understood his squad? Has he understood the best way to utilize the squad? And I feel like now we're starting to see Frank understand that he has to adapt. He has to be bolder. He has to be braver. And I think it's going to be an interesting period now over Christmas because we've got some tricky games, hard opponents, and now we're going to really see where this team is on its journey. That's what we're going to really find out because that little run there, as much as people may go it straight forward, it's not. There's going to be challenges there. There are going to be potholes that we're going to fall into. And not everyone's going to go man to man. Not everyone's going to press us. Some will give us the ball and say, go on, Tottenham, break us down. We struggle then. Let's see how we do. But tonight, everyone should smile. Everyone should be happy. That 3 points in the Champions League, that's a home clean sheet, and that's confidence in the bag for a lot of players there tonight. And that's what I'm going to run with. And fans who were there, happy days. You leave home, you leave the stadium, call it home. We leave the stadium in a very happy place.
Yeah, but Darren makes some important points. You know, 2 wins, obviously at home, back to back, 2 clean sheets. I mean, Luke, to bring you in, I think, you know, at times it was a patient, but it was also a dominant win. Obviously, goals for Kudus, again, goals for Simons. And, you know, the confidence that will give hopefully the group as well will be absolutely massive. You know, on the grand scheme of things, you know, was it an opponent that you'd feel has tested us, has stretched us? Let's be real, not really. But look, it's important at this stage to try and rack up the points in the Champions League because I think it's now potentially maybe unlikely that we're going to earn ourselves an automatic qualifying spot. It looks like now it's going to be a playoff spot. But there were some really good cameos in there. The likes of Tell, the likes of Muani too. And like the boys have touched upon, we're on to a difficult game against Forest at the weekend. But hopefully, confidence building now, Luke, following those back-to-back victories at home. What did you make of it for you?
Yeah, 100%. And I understand why people do that to try and dampen expectations a little bit. No one's saying that by that performance, we're going to go and win a league. But if we beat every team we're better than this year, we're going to win a lot of games. And that is the fact of the matter. So we had it last year under the Europa League thing, saying that we only beat teams that we were better than and we didn't beat anyone great. as long as we're beating them, that's the main thing. Like, this isn't a club that has consistently only gone out to top teams in cup competitions. It's not like every single year we're knocked out by your Liverpools and your them down the road and cities and things like that. I remember not too long ago being knocked out by Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, that sort of thing. So if you go, and as I said, you go and you beat every team that you're better than, you'll win a lot of games this year. So absolutely, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And confidence is so big in football. If you go to a non-league side and win, and you walk away with a massive scoreline, that doesn't really build confidence that much. But this is still a Champions League game. This is still some of the biggest games that some players will play in. So to go and grab and Xavi, we had this last time, right? In the last game against Copenhagen, he seemed to have a decent performance in that game. And then all of a sudden, I know he had a block where he didn't play, but all of a sudden it seems that game by game, that confidence has grown. So it needs to start somewhere. I think that there was a lot of positive stuff in there. We were discussing just before we came on. It's not necessarily about the performance. It's also about the mentality. It's also about what you see in game, what we're trying to adapt from. And you brought it up in the intro, to see Jed Spence being able to invert as he has done. I haven't really seen that this year. I haven't seen him have the confidence to do it. I think Odegaard, although on the ball there was some times where he struggled a little bit. I think his positional sense in being able to play so wide, which he offers something completely different to all the other wingers, allowed Spence to come in field more. And I think his positional sense was the key to really opening them up because of how wide he was able to create the play. And little things like that can really make turn a tide, basically, and you go into the next game a little bit more confident and go into the next game a little bit more confident. And obviously you got Forest up next, and I've said it previously, and everyone says about the Premier League being such a difficult league to play in. If you're on a bad run and you're playing bottom of the league away, that's still a difficult game. Whereas once you've won 3 or 4, you kind of like, we should go there, we should deal with it, we just do professional, do what we need to do, we'll get the job done, sort of thing. So I think it was a confidence booster for everyone, and it was also interesting to see him just making a few little tweaks and not changing the whole team constantly. I feel like you're starting to see some combinations in there where I'm going, actually, I can see something here, particularly around Xavi. My problem when people were talking about Xavi has to be in the side. We wasn't getting the ball into those spaces. People wasn't collecting the ball in those spaces, and we wasn't having runners and that sort of thing. Whereas today and the last few games, you're starting to see players look for him, try to play off of him, and try to get players in and around him so that he can start really dominating games. And I think that was really good to see. And some of the stuff that we're attempting in terms of the little intricate plays, that will come off against better teams as well. It's not like it's only because we're like being a sort of bully team where we're just bullying them. This is intricate play, which I think was good to see. So it is only the start. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, as I said, we're not. This doesn't mean all of a sudden we're going to start now challenging top 3, top 2, stuff like that. But this is the base that we was wanting, and I feel like we're at a good level now to kind of kick on.
Yeah, it's interesting, Luke, isn't it? How a week changes noise in football. We was here last week on the back of that display against Newcastle United, where I thought it was quite a good second half, but there were real concerns around the first half display, and it feels that noise is just quieting around Thomas Frank at the moment. Is that fair to say that, Luke, in regards to that noise around Frank?
I said, I've been saying it for weeks now. Everything is about intent for me. I am not happy, but I understand Spurs are going to lose games. I get it. We are. Every club does. But there's an intent there. If we go out and we lose a game and we've tried and we've worked hard, we've attacked, we've missed a few chances, we've conceded maybe some sloppy bits, or we've conceded one of the goals and we lose games, I'm okay with that. Obviously it can't happen every week, but I'm okay with that. It's all about the intent. And actually just talking about the XG and things like that, that was one of my points. That look at the XG now. We are going out and we're trying to dominate games, and we're trying to be the attacking, we're trying to press, and that's exactly what we should be doing. And I've always said it, if you play that sort of style, you just get a little bit more patience within the fan base, because they can see where you're going with it. And I feel like there's just been a switch in the intent. Now that could be because Frank started to understand not only Tottenham as a club, but the Spurs fans. And I think that's a real key, vital part that managers need to come in and fully understand, that us fans, I don't know why, but we're very particular. And if you can get on board with the way that we think, then you're halfway there. And I feel like he's starting to change that. And hopefully, again, I don't want it to revert to type. I don't want to jump overboard and say this is now Frank's Spurs. He's still got a way to go, and so have players, and we still need to deliver him some other players as well, to be fair. But it's a starting block, and as you said, from now to 2 weeks ago, you've started to now see the vision, which I think a lot of fans were going, I can't really see the vision here. I can't see where he's going with it. Well, maybe we can now.
It's interesting. I mean, Crack's bringing you in on that point. Luke's made that. I think he's been very, very fair on Frank. You know, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the guests that come on this show, majority of them go to Spurs week in, week out, or go as many as they can to the games they see. I know, Cracks, for you, you're also a man that want to see Spurs play on the front foot with intent. What have you made of Thomas Frank Spurs over the last week? And do you feel there has been a slight tweak, a slight adaptation, a slight encouragement to play a little bit more front-footed? What have you made of it, and where are you on Frank for the moment based on what you've seen over this course of the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's stepped up a little bit with the intent and just the speed of play. But then I've always been somebody that's all bets are off with Frank for the first season anyway, because, you know, he's come from, with respect to a club the size of Brentford, to a club the size of Spurs, with the expectations and the Champions League, etc., etc. And the players need to get to know him. He needs to get to know them, and not just Frank. Like Thomas Frank, there's a huge army of coaches as well. So, you know, what we see on match day is just a fraction, really. The work and the relationship building and the understanding goes into the 99% we don't see at the training ground. So all of that needs time to develop and get their ideas across, and those to be taken on board, work out who's who as personalities, who he sees as long-term, who he sees as people that were probably going to be surplus to requirement. So that all takes time. It takes a huge amount of time for that to be to come together. So, but look, I like Thomas Frank. I really do. And a lot of those results that we see, and a lot of those games where we wasn't really happy, then I think that's just all part of the process, Rick. And if not Thomas Frank, then who? Because there's that's the thing. It's all very well to say, oh, like, I don't like this. Okay, well, get rid of him, and then who? Because it's not going to be Pochettino. He's got a World Cup coming up, so that's just out of the question. So, you know, and he's proven to be a capable manager. So you have to at least give him a couple of seasons, but to get his ideas across and see that progression, that steady progression of something coming together and coming along. You know, he's had 25 games and he's not even had one rotation of a season yet. We've still got some away games to go, teams that we've only played once. We've still got to play them away. It's not even been half a season. So look, what I've seen so far, especially in the last 2 or 3 games, the Newcastle game especially, I thought we done very well. But for a terrible refereeing decision to give a penalty, that's a win at St James's Park. And earlier this season, when Thomas Frank was coming in, I said that you judge Tottenham by, can we go to places like St James's Park and at least go and get a draw, because we always do so terrible there. And we did. So I like what I'm seeing thus far. If it continues on the same trajectory, then I think we've got something under him. And then we'll see come January, see who we go out and who we can buy, because we've been promised the earth by this new board. Still the old board, by the way, everybody. The new board that have promised us, the world on a stick. They've said everything's going to be really different. Told us all that they've put 100 million quid in the whip. And so we'll see how true to their word they are. So there's been a lot of change at Tottenham. We've gone from Ange to Thomas Frank, which is a different type of football and a different philosophy. We've gone from Daniel Levy to the Emperor's New Clothes now. So loads and loads of change there. So let's see. Everybody needs a little bit of time to get to know each other. Are you picking up on my cynicism here of maybe things might not be like the brave new world? but we'll see. Look, come January, they might go, okay, we'll go out. We've bought him, and we go, oh, okay, well, that's different. But everybody deserves a chance, don't they? Whether that's whether that's Xavi Simons, Tell, Kawani, the new manager, the new board, everybody has to have a fair crack and a fair shot at getting this right. But so far, all right. So far, so good.
Okay, interesting. Is it going to be Nick 2.0? We'll see. I'm not sure Crackers is sold yet. Will anyone be? Let's see in January and, of course, the summer. Dale, let's bring you in. Obviously, you've been away for the last few weeks with us. It's interesting to get your take on what you've made in terms of Frank now. A couple of weeks on, there was a lot of noise over his future. It now feels like it's a little bit now quietening down. Obviously, we've had a couple of wins, and we've had some decent, I would say, front-footed performances. Obviously, these last two. Where are you in terms of Frank right now? Are you seeing a progression? Because I know a couple of weeks ago you were on here saying at that point you were struggling to see the vision of what we were trying to do. Mm-hmm. Can you now at least see what we are attempting to do?
Okay. Honestly, I don't feel that Frank has shown me exactly what he wants to do. And I don't think he knows yet. I feel that he has worked in two different camps, and he's worked looking at Tottenham defensively. And I think now he's reached that point in the syllabus, if I look at it like a teacher would. And we're now in the offensive side of it. And he's trying to find that. And I feel that I think Luke made a real good point about intent. And that was always part of my issue with Frank, because I couldn't see enough of a spark to make me go with it. I wanted to be a part of the fire. I wanted to sit around it and go, it's not lit yet, but I'm here and I'm gonna be a part of it, and I'm gonna watch it grow. I was concerned because I was looking at how we was using tools and how we was putting things together, and it was like the tactics were so defensive, and sometimes we're going so negative. And my concern away from the style of play was the dressing room, as Crack alluded to. There's lots of new voices. And I was seeing players that weren't normally players who would get frustrated, like a Mickey van der Ven, looking so frustrated and so annoyed at times. And I was going, are we missing something? Is there something happening behind closed doors that these players are like us, as confused or as concerned? And I think that the last few games, we've seen a shift in the intention, and it's been more attacking. And there has been an idea to try, I think Luke alluded to it, about getting Simons involved and looking at the connections and the link play around him. Now, with Thomas Frank, he could flip it all on our head next game and pull Simons out, and suddenly we're playing a different system altogether. And we're all scratching our heads again. But I don't mind it if, when he changes it, the players go with it. And I think that's the thing that I've seen is a little bit of like the players in certain games look like they're playing either the handbrake on or with confusion of going, I don't know what you want me to do here. I don't know. My gut wants to do this, but I know we spoke about doing this all week, so I'm going to do that, and that doesn't feel right. So I'm with Cracks on. It's his first season, and I'm going to give him time, and I'm going to allow him to grow into it. And I use that term purposely, grow into it. I feel that Frank has to grow as a person as well. He has been in a situation for his career where he's not had this pressure, but not had what I would say a ceiling to reach. There's a new level for him to go to. And if he embraces this, he could really make a name for himself. Cracks made a name. He said, Pochettino. Thomas Frank has got everything in his armory to be somebody like that, to have that admiration from us, because tactically he's got it all. Coaching-wise, he's got it all. Ange had a vision of playing football that was daring and bold and attack-minded and wild, and you love it or you hate it. But that was him. Frank's now got to put his identity on this Spurs side, and I feel that we're not going to get it straight away because we haven't seen it yet. And I feel that it's going to be an amalgamation of a lot of different ways, and I feel that the chameleon could be what Tottenham is. We're going to be a side that we change a lot throughout the season with different system, different clientele against different sides. My thing is, as long as the players continue to buy in, because that's confusing for a footballer and it may be frustrating. Today, Spence got to invert. He may have loved that today because Odebear hugged the touchline, gives him that space. Suddenly you put Tel out there and Tel always wants to cut in. He's in the way now. You go, Spence, you can't be there because I want to be there. It changes all the time. And it's as long as the players are buying in, great. But if we start to see it breaking down on itself, then we're going to have problems. And then the fan base will see it. The stands start to feel it and we have a problem. So for me, Frank, I'm giving him time because I'm patient like that. But anyone who's not feeling it and being annoyed and frustrated, I totally hear you as well. You're justified to feel that because we see on the pitch, it changes every game. And as we say, 2 games ago, I said it on T-Talk on Tottenham, I didn't know where this was going and I was concerned. Now we're 2 games further. I'm like, okay, I'm happier now than I was then. I'm not suddenly going to put banners outside my house saying, Frank, come for dinner. But I'm here going, I'm happier where we are right now. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, I suppose you make a really good point there, Dale, which I do agree with. That growth aspect is so true. He is having to grow into the role because he's been asked more questions than ever before about his style of play, about his substitutions, which, with all due respect, at his time at Brentford, and I've said this before, when he loses the game at Brentford, it's not seen as a big drama, you know. But when you're the manager of Tottenham and you are losing to lesser opposition and it's not that intent there at times, those questions are going to be there, you could even look at tonight, for an example. It's a Champions League night, and I'm not blaming the fans for this whatsoever. It's not a sellout at the moment. I think that's partly down to the pricing, but I think that also is partly down to the fact how poor we've been at home. And to be fair to Frank, that's gone before Frank in terms of the home form, right? But I think where we are right now, once we start seeing, as we've said, a maintaining on, building on these consistent performances over the last 2 games, that will give the fans a lot more confidence about what they're going to watch, what they're going to see, and are we going to start to see being developed a theme, a style, a brand of football, a philosophy, right? Which I know people hate that word philosophy or a project, but sometimes you need to feel something is getting there slowly to really get you bought in. Look, we're going to go for our first break of the show for our listeners and audio. We're going to hear from Thomas Frank for a good 5-6 minutes to give us his thoughts on the game. Like I say, we're joined by Richard Cracknell. Compère is back. Actor Darren Hartman is in the building, as is Luke from Spotlight on Spurs. Please like the show, subscribe. You can get involved by hitting that subscribe button. That allows you to interact in the live debate with the gents and, of course, the ladies in the chat as well. And make sure you're hyping the show. Let's hear from the Tottenham Hotspur head coach Thomas Frank. We're going to bring in right now, who gives you his thoughts on the back of that 3-0 win over against, of course, Slavia Prague. And we are trying to bring that in right now. Here is Thomas Frank.
Hi, Thomas. It's Boris from Antenna 5. So many positive aspects after this victory. What can you single out as the most important thing tonight? This is the second win in a row at this magnificent stadium, and you didn't concede any goals, and no goals conceded at home in the Champions League as well this season.
Yeah, I was very happy that we built on the momentum from the Brentford game, both home, but in general, just, in terms of performance, I think there was more offensive, positive notes to take from the game as well. Positive individual performances, but also that the team just gelling a little bit more and more together in a tricky game against an opponent that is not easy to play against. Slavia Prague, big respect for them. The man physical pressure, but we got the job done and got 3 points, so that was good.
We saw kind of Christian Romero being quite decisive with the penalties and who would take them. Is that something you really encourage your leader to to sort out?
But is clearly how can you say it's decided before, that there was no problem. It was exactly how it should be.
Just enforcing what you want, really.
Yeah. I don't think there was. I think he was. I don't know. It was a little bit of banter with Xavi, and I think it was more that.
And one kind of slight negative, Mickey van der Ven, yellow card that suspends him. You look quite frustrated by that.
Yeah, which I understand, of course. But yeah, that was the minor negative thing here. But it is what it is.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
Why did you decide to bring Tao into the squad for this match rather than previously when you had the option to?
Because, as I understand, it's something with 60 days. An injured player needs to be injured in 60 days. Relatively complicated. So it's not like I could have done it the three games ago. Plus, it's also depending on how long will Dom be out and so on. So that's why there was an opening now that we could do it and we can change it again. So that was good.
Has there been a setback with Dom? Is that anything to do with it?
No, it was an opportunity to get Tell in, which is nice to have that opportunity, and we can change back if we want to do that.
And I think the Frankfurt game's the last league phase match. That's the end of January. Do you expect Dom to be back before then?
I think I said before that as soon as he's ready and available, then I will say when he's ready.
Hi, Thomas. You won most of the individual battles there tonight out in the field, but it was a great opportunity for Wilson Odobert to stamp his name on this game. Great moment after 30 seconds, but afterwards he seemed to drift out of the game. David Hollis, Thomas Hollis, the fullback, really dominant there, and Wilson struggled maybe another 30 seconds at the start of the second half, but really struggled to get any influence in that game tonight.
I think for Wilson, he's a young player. He no doubt learned a lot from this game today. I agree. I think it was a great action after 1 minute or 30 seconds where he got the better of his opponent. And then I think second half also got into a very good chance, good finish, great save from their keeper. And then there was definitely situations, as you said, where he needed to protect the ball better and handle the aggressive pressure.
Yeah, and just last one on that, with so many talented players that you have out at your disposal, now they're currently injured, but making their way back, I suppose opportunities are rare. So when they get to opportunities like this, they have to take them, Thomas, really.
Yeah, I would say that it's every day in training, every day when every game they play, if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes or 75 minutes, of course, it's all about putting good performances in.
Sorry, Thomas. Can you talk about Xavi's performance? I mean, another goal, another good display, I thought. Do you think he's kind of gaining some confidence? Yeah,
definitely. I think he built on the good game on Saturday, produced again, I would say. Good link-up play, nice turns in the middle of the pitch where he also got that acceleration to go past the player and open up the spaces. I also like his work ethic. And for example, there was a great recovery run in 90-plus minutes where he just get all the way back under, which is crucial. For me, for us, for everyone, to work very hard. So I like his overall performance.
Hi, Thomas. Nice to put on a special performance for what was a special night for Son Heung-min coming back. Did he come and speak to the boys before the game yourself? Did he give any extra motivation tonight? Yeah, it was good to see him. Mainly saw him straight after the game here. I'm happy that the reception and well-deserved reception he got. A Tottenham legend, truly Tottenham legend coming back home. So very happy. It's good to see me. He seems happy and said he's settled well in. When he left, obviously the team lost not only a talisman but a big creative part of the team. Felt like Xavi and Mohammed Kudus were the sort of two signings that came in to replace that creativity. How happy are you with the way, in particular in recent weeks, they seem to be sort of moving through the gears with their form at the moment? Yeah, I agree. I think actually Mo started the season quite well. Then he had a dip, and now I think the last recent maybe 3 performances or something like that, it seems we had that freshness, energy, acceleration, decisiveness in his actions, and Xavi's 2 performances have been positive. So that, of course, so important. That what I call form, sharpness, getting more in sync with each other, the team. I think it's all that is important.
Hi, Thomas. Following on from the weekend, at home, another strong performance, another strong kind of front-footed performance. in the first half, there were a few moments where Prague kind of looked like they might be threatening in transition. Is this just kind of like part and parcel of a team learning to play this way?
Yeah, I think the way Prague play, there will always be a threat on transition. In any game that is transitions, you need to close down. I liked a lot from this performance, but it's also a performance that I think we can do much better in the future, be even more in control in elements of the game. But I think with all due respect to the crazy program we've had, as I said, we had those 4 games in 10 days time, and then we just only had 3 games before Brentford, high numbers, and then to produce today and get over the line, that's the positive I take away from here. And then there's things I learn constantly about the squad.
And Spurs are obviously now in quite a strong position, thinking about potentially automatic qualification for the knockouts. How much are you kind of considering that now with 2 games to go, 1 at home and 1 away?
Of course, I'm first and foremost very happy for the win today, because that means more or less we're in a very strong position to definitely be in the playoffs, you can say, to progress. Those 2 games are so far ahead. I'm just happy that we got 4 days now before we face Nottingham, and that's everything I focus on.
Hey Thomas, with the form that you'd be 2 home wins, how do you turn this form going to Forest and Liverpool at home? How can you turn it into 2 more wins there?
Yeah, of course we can build that momentum. I think there's also a team that I think we played a good game overall against Newcastle. I think we played 2 good home games. I think the I can say extremely positive thing about this season is that we've been so good away from home, which I think is incredible. To be very good away from home, that's a huge skill set. So hopefully we can build on that. It's a team and a manager respect a lot we face on Sunday. But right now we'll do it's everything about recovery, and then we'll make sure we have a good plan for Sunday afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, there you go. That was Thomas Frank there on the back of Spurs sweeping aside Slavia Prague by 3-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
There you go,
come back in.
Rick. He just said what we've just said at the start of this show. But he said that we're learning about each other. That he was a bit concerned with some of the chances that was given. So what we're seeing, he's seeing. And that's brilliant. That's what you want to hear. You go, oh, okay, you listen to that and you've gone, that's the points we've just made. So you are seeing what we're seeing. And, you know, I think generally you can't fool a football crowd. You just can't fool a football fan. No. I know sometimes all clubs do it. They take them for granted and they're like, what do you know? Well, I tell you what, football clubs generally, not just Tottenham, this is every club, we know more than you as a whole. So when a manager comes on and gets the same vibe and feel as a fan, you think to yourself, okay, I like that. That's what I want to hear, that you've seen what we've all seen tonight. And you know that tomorrow morning when he goes in and he does his debrief and video presentation, these are the points he's going to be hammering home to the players, that we need to be better at this, we need to be doing that, and I need to learn some more about you and you'll learn some more about me. So that gives you real hope that you've got something happening.
I think you made a real key point there, Cracks, what you've just said there, because there's a few weeks ago on here, there was slight concern and apprehension about what he was saying was, for some Spurs fans, not reflective of what we were seeing. And it looks like slowly we're now coming back to, you know, being at that point where we are starting to see the same thing. We're feeling the same as what the manager's suggesting, which can only be a good thing. We're going to come on to very, very shortly, of course. For those that we haven't forgot it, we've got Heung-min Son's interview lined up for everybody. So Heung-min Son did address the crowd before the game. Got a wonderful reception. Sonny Legend, that is coming towards the end of this show. But we are joined by Richard Cracknell. It's a mouthful. Richard Crackers Cracknell.
It's easy for you to say, Rick. I thought I was the only one drinking here this evening. So thank you very much. What day is it? Thursday. So am I. Let's have another one.
I've only got that lad at 4 in the morning, I'll be fine. Richard Crackers Cracknell's back on the screen, as is the Hart man's in the house. Darren Hart, of course, is here, and Luke's here from Spotlight on Spurs. Guys, please like, subscribe to the show, hype the show as well. That would be greatly appreciated. A reminder that we've still got our good friends over at NordVPN that are running for you this campaign during this Christmas festive period where it's going to be non-stop football. And of course, Spurs, hopefully, they're going to secure at least a place in the playoffs. So if you are traveling away in this next month or two and you want to watch your favorite TV shows back home, please go out and check NordVPN, allowing you to watch your favorite TV programs wherever you are. You can switch your virtual location settings. You can also protect your data like bank details, passwords, and online identity when you're doing your Christmas shopping. If you watch certain things after midnight that you shouldn't be allowed to watch, you can do with NordVPN, again, by switching your location settings. And of course, you could use the code nordvpn.com/LWOS, giving you an extra 4 months on the 2-year plan. And look, I know a lot of families watch this show. What have I just caused in households? Now everyone is like Cracker said, getting that remote and trying to change the bloody channel. What am I causing? Look, some interesting stuff that's come out of that press conference as well. And also before the game was the fact around, I know Cracker's going to come with a joke there. He changed his mind. He probably thought that's not right for this audience. The fact that we've now removed Dominic Solanke for the time being from the Champions League squad. In has come Matisse Tell. Dale, thoughts on that for you? Because he's been very clear and repeated this now in the last couple of press conferences that he's not going to give an update on Dominic Solanke until he's in a position to tell us what the hell is going on. Not his words, my words, but he's not going to give us an update at the moment. He will tell us when he's ready. Is that a concern by the fact Tell's come in now into the Champions League squad and Solanke's gone out, which seems to indicate he's nowhere near close to being ready for Tottenham at the moment, Dominic Solanke?
Yeah, well, that is what it tells us. By you pulling him out, all we can go on is the facts of the matter, is that you're saying Solanke isn't going to play anymore in the Champions League group stage. So therefore, Tell will. Of course, there's speculation. Of course, the rumour mill kicks in. Solanke is a player that would work great for Thomas Frank in my head. Like, he would slot beautifully into this system. Would be a striker that I feel would really flourish and score a lot of goals. So I feel you may be seeing, I know we're trying to look at the gossip, what we may be seeing is a frustrated manager who has been told one thing and isn't getting what he wants. Now we're here. Yeah. We're not going to talk about what's on the screen because you can read it for yourself. We're there.
We're just a revolve. We're just like come and say we're all just a revolving, comments, aren't we? We're all just a revolving commentary in the last 6-7 years of just saying the same thing over and over and over again. But
it's what Tottenham does to us.
Just insert next manager just as the text. Just put the next manager in there and just go again. Dal, please carry on.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that there's nothing untoward. I'm just hoping that Frank's a manager now. He's frustrated that he just wants the player. So he's not updating us because right now he may not have the full information. He may be told he's broken down again or whatever, and he's just frustrated about it. And he's not going to allude to it anymore. So, we're just got to leave it at that. And I think right now, again, it's just about players taking the opportunity now. We, as Spurs fans, spoke a lot about Tell not being in the squad. Now we have him in the squad. Let's see what he does. Let's see what happens.
Spot on. I mean, Luke, just coming on that. Look, we are aware there's a lot of rumours circling around social media about Solanke and why he's not available. Look, it's difficult to comment because we don't have the full facts right, and it's just not right to speculate because, it's just inappropriate to do so. He was pitch side, of course, to welcome Sonny back for his return to the football club. Luke, I mean, I'll go back to that point I've asked Dale there. Is it massively concerning? This guy was bought for 60 million, not available. A player that you feel would certainly add to the Thomas Frank squad, right, in terms of an attacking sense. Is that a big concern, Tell's coming in? Not on Tell's behalf, but the fact that it doesn't appear Solanke is going to be ready anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely, it's a concern. But Spurs should be used to this, right? We love an injury. Ledley King, Eric Lamela, Darren Hart, and I mean the list goes on and on and on and on. We love an injury. So, and yeah, what's really strange with him is that obviously the year before he signed, he played 38 games in the Premier League for Bournemouth, didn't miss a single one. Came to us, and the second game he's out injured. 10th game he's out injured again. Shock. Yes, it's very disappointing. I feel like, as you mentioned earlier, that I feel like he will be very good in this system. I feel like he is definitely a striker that would be able to benefit from playing in this system. And I feel like Frank could get hold of him and really turn him into the player that was at Bournemouth. But as you said, listen, regardless of whether he's picked up a knee injury, whether he's got a bad toe, whether he's got an headache, he ain't available. Let's just move on, because there's no point sitting there talking about all of these players. I mean, we've done it with Maddison, we've done it with Kulu, and we have no idea when any of these guys are back. So let's not sit there and pin all our hopes on them. And also, every single one of them that come back, there's no proof that they're going to come back and be anywhere near the player they was immediately. Yep. So we might be talking about three. I think it's more like Madders, obviously Kulu and Solanke. And I've seen a lot of people, and myself included, we all kind of get roped into it. Oh, when they're back, they might be back in March. Should we just write off the season now until March and wait and see how we get on then, sort of thing? So we need to get ourselves in a position now where when they do get back, we're actually challenging for something. Because if they get back and we're 12th, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference. So we need to find solutions now. It was one of the main reasons that people wanted Frank in, because they felt that he was adaptable, he was able to change things up, and if he loses a player, we'd be able to make something else work. So I definitely feel like it's a negative, but this could be a real good thing for Tel. I know he's stocked low in the fan base. I get it. I'm not saying people are wrong in saying that. There is proof in the pudding that sometimes he's not been up to levels, but I think the mentality of this kid is absolutely top drawer. And I feel like he's got the mentality to go to the top, and he needs just a few things to click for him to be able to become a real good player. And sometimes you just need that bit of luck. It's happened to so many players over the years where an injury, a suspension, whatever it may be. In this case, obviously, it is an injury, but it's coming back into a Champions League squad. Sometimes you just need that little bit of luck, and all of a sudden, a bit of a kickstart, a goal against United. I thought he was very good the other night. I think it was against Newcastle when he came on. He set up the goal. It was obviously from his corner. I think we've scored 2 goals from 2 of his corners this year. And again, talk about intent. Came on the pitch. He started the move for the Romero's first goal. And then today, picking up the ball, he cut inside a few times, had a couple of shots. Keeper saved 1 or 2 of them. And that's the sort of intent that you want to see. And for a player that's lacking confidence, for a player that's not been first team and starting every week, if that's the sort of level that he's at, what could he be when he gets a Xavi Simons game, for instance, scores a couple of goals all of a sudden? So, I like him a lot. I understand that we probably need to make sure that we've got the right players around him to help him grow. I mean, look at Bayern Munich. He was there with Harry Kane learning that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden now we've got Richarlison up there and things like that. So I feel like we need to get someone in that he can really learn from. But that's what we need to do. We need to find solutions to these sorts of things, because injuries happen. And when you're a Spurs fan, they happen a hell of a lot more than they should. So, but leading into, sorry, I'll just one last point on Frank. I said all last year, the manager's not the problem. He's not the only problem. And it's the same thing with Frank, right? Because if you spoke to most of the fan base, they'll all say the transfers haven't been good enough recently. The squad's been put together for 4 different managers. Well, then this all can't be put on the manager then, can it? We need to get, if he doesn't get the transfer, or if we as a club don't get the transfers right for him, he's still going to have a squad that doesn't really make sense, that we've got clear gaps in one aspect or another. So we need to, there needs to be so many people at the club and so many areas at the club that kind of push together now or pull together now and all come in together to understand that actually, because that's one of my problems with the club, is that we chop and change between so many different systems and tactics, and we've gone from Ange ball to someone's saying Frank ball was a bit more defensive. How are all these players going to just constantly adapt? That's not how it works. So over a period of time, you windle out the ones that don't really fit your system. Might be good players, don't fit your system. Well, hang on a minute, we need to move it around. So, and Frank had that right at Brentford.
you know for a fact that if a player was coming in, it was under his say, so it was fitting his system and all of that sort of stuff. So we definitely need to get to that, and we need to give him a chance to be able to do that. And as I said, I feel like we all need to be pushing in that right direction, and hopefully we've turned a corner. And we'll see. January is a very, very big thing. Exactly what I said about the players and about the tactics. Intent is key. And if we go after the right players and we're pushing to go for the right players, then that's exactly what's going to progress us.
Agree on that point.
You know what, Rick? Luke's absolutely spot on now. It's like this show. I mean, if you get Paul O'Keefe on and Fabrizio Romano one night and then turn around and go, welcome along, chaps. Tell us a couple of knob gags. Like they're going to be what? Like, but then you might get me and Jar Wobble on, and you'll go tell us a couple of knob gags, and you'll just get them for an hour, wouldn't you? So you've just got to cut your cloth accordingly for what you've got. But Luke's right. No one player in that team plays on their own as such, unless you've got an absolute worldy talent. The players like Simons, like Richie, like Moani, they need a certain type of player behind them, in front of them, alongside of them. And if you've got a mix and match that doesn't quite blend and meld as you need, then you're not going to get the best out of them. So that it takes time to go, okay, look, we think he's the future. So let's look at somebody to come in alongside of him, or just behind him, or just in front of him, that complements his game, because who he plays with at the moment isn't quite right for the system that we're looking to go and play. So all these things take times in windows, to not only bring in a player, but more importantly, and sometimes even harder, is to get a player out the door as well, because they could well just go, I'm going nowhere. I'm not going there. You've given me a contract for 180 grand a week, and I'm going to sit here, thank you very much, because I don't fancy going to the arse end of Bratislava or Saudi Arabia to play my football. Thank you very much. My family's quite settled here in London. My kids are in school, and mum and dad lives here. So these things take time. There's a lot of shuffling and juggling to do. So, but somebody has to be given that chance.
Yep.
To get that team, that squad together, and that philosophy. And that's not half a season. It's not one season. That's 2-3 seasons. You've got to go through that pain of doing that. The mob down the road have done it. And, and they look like they're sort of seeing the rewards from that, or there's certainly been a progression. We have to do the same, Rick. We just have to do the same. We've got to pin the tail on one donkey and stick with it. We really have to.
Rick, can I just jump in on that?
Please, go for it.
Spurs fans, I'm going to say this to us, and I want us to really think about this. We have 2 dangerous transfer windows, and I'm going to explain why they're dangerous. January is dangerous for this. We've got a World Cup coming, and you get a lot of players who are suddenly going to want to move for a World Cup place, but they're not going to want to transfer. They're going to want to loan, because they're happy at their big club, but they want the football. So this window may be a tricky one. And there may be impulse buys that agents are pushing a certain player that Spurs want, and their different agendas. Everyone at this point of this window has a very different agenda. So don't be surprised if there's less buys and more loans in this window, because it's harder to get a player to do a bigger move just before World Cup, because they've got to be guaranteed football here, guaranteed football there. There's a lot of, remember, as Crack quite rightly said, if you're trying to build a team around certain players, the level goes up. That means you're shopping in a different market. And those players are going to be players that have World Cup aspirations and want to be going. So the move's got to be perfect for them. That's why this window is a dangerous one. Second one is a window after a World Cup. Those prices are ridiculous. And also you get World Cup gloss. where a player looks great in the World Cup. We've done it so many times, Tottenham. Gee whiz. Don't let me go into the file facts. Yes, I'm that old. And bring out all those players that we bought with their great World Cups, and then they stink when they come into the league. So let's just be a little bit mindful that we've got 2 dangerous windows here, and it's got to be Spurs as a club have got to have all their thinking caps on. Paratici's got to be doing the research before. Let's not go on what we see in USA and go, he's the best for sliced bread. Let's really take our time and do our due diligence properly. Because as we've all said, Luke said it, Crack said it, Rick, I know you believe in it as well. Frank doesn't have the squad that he wants.
No, it's not got nowhere near the team he wants. Nowhere near.
Exactly that. But let's not fill the squad with players that have been sold to us because of an agent wants to move, or that they've looked great in a World Cup, but we know that they play for Sparta Gibraltar and they're not great, but we paid 70 million for them when they were 35 before a World Cup, and now we're in that place. So yeah, let's just be mindful. It's 2 dangerous transfer windows. That's what I wanted to say. I'm out.
On the transfer window, one man we're hoping has been a shining light and a decent buy for Tottenham. I'm going to come on to him in a couple of seconds. Is Xavi Simons. Let's quickly hear from Xavi as he gives his thoughts on the back of another goal, back-to-back goals for Xavi in that 3-0 win against Slavia Prague. And after, we're getting into the crux of the goals and also talk about Heung-min Son's farewell return.
Xavi, congratulations. 2 goals in 2 games. Good performance tonight. What did you think about the performance, first of all?
Yeah, really happy. It was a difficult game playing in front of this team. In general, really aggressive team, man-to-man, and really hard to play against a team like this.
Tell us how difficult it is to break a team like that down, and what is it like playing against man-to-man? Because they were everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, at the end, when you play man-to-man, doesn't matter where you go on the pitch, they will follow you, and you have to try to move them into spaces that you know, okay, you can maybe try to anticipate the game. And yeah, in the first half we had that chances, but we didn't score, and in the second half we could score.
Seems like a challenge you relish.
At the end, yeah, it's really hard to play, if I'm honest, against a man-to-man team. So yeah, really happy that we could win.
I think we all love to, all the fans, we all love to see you getting on. You want to get on the ball, you want to dictate play. You did it again tonight. That's your game, isn't it?
Yeah, at the end, I'm feeling comfortable getting into the ball, playing, try to put my teammates into the better positions, and yeah, another time I'm really happy to feeling like this, and we must continue like this as well.
And at the end there, you've done everything we all dream of. You stepped up and scored a penalty in front of that South stand. That must feel good.
Yeah, it's always a nice feeling to score in front of the fans, and at the end, in a Champions League night like this, makes it more special.
Look, when last I looked, we were 8th in the group now after that result tonight. I know there's games to come, but I mean, what the lads saying about what we can do in the Champions League?
Yeah, the aim is the highest possible, especially top 8. That's our target, I would say. But we're taking it game per game, and yeah, we have 2 games left in the Champions League, and we want to try to win the 6 points.
Been a good week for you, hasn't it? You look like you're loving your football.
Yeah, really happy. We must go on 3 days and then another game.
Brilliant stuff. Well done, mate. Well done.
There you go, Xavi Simons there. What a good 4 days he's had in the Tottenham shirt. Wouldn't knock that, would you? A good 4 days for him. We're joined by Richard Cracknell. We're joined by, of course, Luke over at Spotlight on Spurs. And the Hart man is back. Darren Hart's in the building. He's actually everywhere at the moment. We're bringing you more on his panto to come. Not his pants, just to be very, very clear. Panto, just to be very, very clear. Like I say...
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, no, you're not. Come on.
Yes,
Come on. This is what they tune in for, Rick. The ham. Let's ham it.
We can be there for about an hour. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, no, oh, shut up. We've got a show to get on with here. Hold on a second. Guys, please keep liking. Please keep subscribing. Please keep hyping to the show. Oh, man, it's getting further and further back from the screen, isn't he? It's going to end up in the lift somewhere after the show comes to an end. Look, the team, very quickly for this on the team. We've got to get things moving. We've got to accelerate, haven't we? The team. Look, we had that news beforehand. Destiny and Doggy now out until January. Like the boys had said on the start of the show, we have got players dropping like flies, just so we are clear. So Frank has been stuck with his 2 fit fullbacks in Pedro Porro and Jed Spence this European game. Xavi Simons once again starting for Tottenham. Odegaard comes into the team, but Brennan Johnson out of this one. Colin Moorani, of course, limped out at the weekend, but was back on the bench. Matisse Tell, Tottenham made it to get him back into the squad. And also Luca Williams-Barnett was on the bench after just his 5 goals in the UEFA Youth League game between the two clubs earlier in the day, as was Callum Olasise, who bagged 3 assists in the 9-1 win. The 9-1 win. God, the youth are doing superb at the moment. Keep an eye on Luca Williams-Barnett, a real future Tottenham Hotspur star. So Tottenham lined up: Vicario Porro Romero, Van der Ven, Spence Gray-Polina, Xavi Kudus, Richarlison Odobert, with a bench of Kinski, Gunter, Danzo Davis, Benton Corsar, Bergvall, Olasise, Williams-Barnett, Tell, Colomwani, Scarlett. I thought that bench was going to keep going. It's the long... Are these benches getting longer? I'm surprised we've got enough players to fill the bloody bench. There was a lovely moment for Heung-min Son, who was embraced before the game started. Go on, Cracks. What do you want to say?
Sorry, can we have the team lineups up again, please?
Go on, what do you want to say?
Because in our house, which is a bit mad, the Slavia Prague player, Dudera, yeah? Every time he got mentioned by Sam Matterface on comms, Dudera, in our house we were going, it's Tadua. Dudera is Tadua. Come on, it's got to be a
Only you would do that.
Dudera is Tadua.
Only you would do that. Only that our son would do that. You're diamonds. Look, Spurs, I mean, you felt it was going to be a feel-good night because we actually registered a shot on target inside 60 seconds of the game. 36 seconds to be precise. Wilson Odobert completely skinned David Udera and brilliantly picked out Richarlison, but his first time effort was blocked by the shoulder of the Slavia goalkeeper, Jindrich Stanek. It wasn't actually an extraordinary stop, you've got to say. And I'd say those 36 seconds you could feel for Tottenham, it was a night where there was an intent to go on the front foot. I've got to also mention a really stupid booking picked up by Mickey van der Ven, who is now suspended through yellow card accumulation and will miss Spurs' next Champions League game against Borussia Dortmund after flicking out an arm on Schittil as he dribbled away and ended up with getting a booking. Frank was really, really unhappy, jabbing his fingers to say, think about it, Schittil, think about it. But we did get a goal. And I've got to say, I mean, the goal coming out of you, Luke, to try and restore some normality in this show. Please try, Luke. I mean, I tell you what, normality. There was nothing normal about that bullet header from David Zima into his own net. You're thinking, I mean, listen, own goals. We've been really lucky this season. I think they're probably now up to 2nd or 3rd as our highest goal scorer. I know Jason McGovern is singing, you'll never sing that, but you, at the own goals, I think is right up the leaderable charts for Tottenham. And we go ahead, and that was actually, Luke, our 100th Champions League goal. Stylish, was it, Luke? Would you say?
Yeah, what a header! It's a great finish.
Absolute bullet header.
It was so strange because it just seemed like it came out of the blue, and he's like, "Oh, let me just head this. Oh, it's gone in the goal." It was like such a strange reaction. But as I said, good finish. I wish Richarlison would have done that after 30 seconds. But yeah, the keeper pulled off a couple of good saves. To be honest with you, he did pull off a couple of good saves. And it was quite ironic because I think Porro was the one taking the corners, and his first 2 went straight to the keeper. Both of them went straight to the keeper. Keeper caught him like it was just a routine catches, and then the next one we score from. So it was really strange. I think it was deserved. I think, as I said, the intent coming out so early on to get a shot on target, get the crowd up, and these sorts of things, they can simmer. They can go on for a bit. If you don't have a shot within 10-15 minutes, the crowd get a little bit like, oh, is it going to be one of those games again, sort of thing. So that's exactly what we needed to do. And I know for some reason we've received a lot of criticism in terms of scoring from set pieces. I don't care how we score. I don't care whether they're own goals or not. That we might have a bit of a laugh amongst ourselves, because I think own goals is top goal scorer at one stage this season.
It was.
Doesn't make a difference. The ball goes in the back of the net, and if we're playing intent, then it is what it is. But I feel like Odobert on that left hand side was a danger on a lot of occasions. He just seems like he's got a little bit of confidence, and I'm hoping that he kind of goes on a bit of a run. I was saying on here a couple of weeks back, I feel like his link up play with Xavi Simons, I feel like on a footballing IQ level, they're on the same level. And I feel like they look for each other a lot. They've got these little jinky moves where they can just drop a shoulder and beat a man. And I feel like they look for each other quite a bit. So I'm hoping that them two together performing well might put them in good stead. And as I say, now we've lost Udogie. I kept saying, because of the width, Udogie or Odobert have to play. One of them has to play every single game. And now he's out. I feel like it has to be him on that left hand side, because as Hartman said earlier, if you put anyone else there, then they want to come in more, and then all of a sudden you lose all the width. And that's why I said I think Odebert's positional sense to just stay wide for as long as possible was really, really key. I don't feel like we have another left winger that fits that profile at this moment in time. So I feel like he could end up being key, especially until the doggy comes back and he can then provide the width from the fullback area.
Yeah, agree. It's actually interesting. You go a further few minutes on from that. There was, again, I mean, we've had some incredible refereeing moments for Spurs over the course of the season, but another one which I felt absolutely bizarre. And I think for those that would have been in the stadium watching it and even on the playback, there's an incredible decision by the referee, Benoit Bastien, to caution João Palhinha for a note-perfect sliding tackle on David Dudera. I know we can't stop mentioning this guy, but it was a perfectly timed tackle, but somehow he was penalised. He wagged his finger towards a really home crowd that was absolutely stunned by the referee's decision to book him. And look, we're going at half time, 1-0 to the good. I think it's important that we did build on the second half, or build into the second half, and we did, to be fair. And like I say, Spurs, they had the opportunity, of course, where they get the penalty. What I actually quite liked about it, Dad, I come over to you, there was real authority, wasn't there, with regards to Romero, in how he really, handled that situation to want Xavi to take the penalty down.
Yeah, it was good to see. I think it was really interesting when you see Thomas, when that question was put to Frank, and there was a bit of a laugh and a hesitation.
Or should I say, my apologies, Kudus, obviously firstly Kudus and then Xavi, but
yeah,
Romero controlling both the situations.
I think the first one, Richarlison, wanted that penalty.
100%.
And I think what happened there was Romero just reminding him probably of what Frank had put in place, that Kudus is going to take it. And then that was a nice little step away. I think Richarlison has to kind of know that we saw a penalty that he should have really given to Dane Scarlett and he didn't. And you kind of go, now just you follow orders on the penalties, my friend, do as you're told. And Kudus, I think it was good for him because then he took it, put it away nicely, and you move on. And that was a lovely penalty. And I think it was right for a player like Kudus to get it at that point because he needed that confidence boost because his game has been improving. He has been playing well. He got to celebrate with the Stools. Look at that. We're in sync, Saxy. We're in sync. He got to do a celebration with the Stools. That's what we want to see. And that camaraderie around him is what we need to see. Happy faces, a team that's working. And I think there's an interesting thing that I don't know if people have highlighted yet in their own Spurs chats, etc. The importance of Archie Gray in this system is really important. A player in the middle of the park who is always on the half turn. He's got lovely feet, this young boy, and he's got a lovely footballing IQ. And he allows a player like Simons to make space because a player like Archie Gray will pick it up from the centre half. He's available for that pass and he will get on the half turn and give it to Simons quickly. He's that type of player. He wants to be involved. Then defensively, he's covering for runners. If Spence goes on a run, his IQ goes, I'll go right back. I'll go left back. I don't mind. And I feel that he's a young player who I know Frank wanted him before we got him. And I feel that he is one that you look at, like you said earlier, Cracks, about looking at the players that you want to build around. He is one that we absolutely could build around. And I don't think Spurs will appreciate what we have until he really sparks. And I really think that the fire is being lit underneath him. And like we spoke about the double pivot, it is a Frank system. He likes two there. What Gray gives differently to them is his culture on the ball, but also his awareness of where other people move to and being adaptable. I think he's a lovely player, and he really played well again. He's had 2 good games in a row. Well done, young man.
Well, another busy performance, wasn't it? For me?
Odd carriers and bricklayers, isn't it? Simple as that.
Cracks.
If you're a bricklayer, you need a good odd carrier. Simple as that. But if your odd carrier can lay the odd brick as well, then you really have got something. But that's how teams work. You got to have one fetch, one go, one fetch, one go, one fetch, one go. And Archie Gray and Xavi work really, really well together. Really, really well. So if you let that develop, then you've got something. Then you get your pairings, like up front, like your centre backs. You have to have that pairing, don't you?
This is really important what you're saying about, because we were saying a few weeks ago on here, and I think Dale, you were saying actually on T Talk in Tottenham, we were really struggling to see relationships forming. And just now, what we're seeing now, getting there slowly. It's not there completely, but we are seeing those relationships forming, having Gray in midfield, with Simons being allowed to roam forward, Gray with the ability to go backwards and carry the ball as well is a big thing. And then another busy display from him. He was really, really good. And like we said on that first penalty, Romero telling Richarlison to give it to Kudus. He tucked it away, grabbed the stall. It was a perfect start to second half for Spurs, and it all came from Porro being taken out by Sanyang, and the referee pointed to the spot. I mean, that was after Porro had made the cross, but we have seen them given. Polina, Spurs again, they win the ball back via him. Gray drives forward before he passes it into Odobert, whose shot was very well saved by Stanek. Could have been 3-0 literally within a couple of minutes after we got the second one. We then met a couple of subs. Tell and Saar replaced Kudus and Gray. There was good footwork from Tell before the keeper saved. It was a low shot, and then the stopper does really well to keep out. Saar's follow up, and then Ben Davies gets his first minutes of the season. He comes on with Rana Kalamawani for Porro and Richarlison. Really good ovation. We touched upon the start of the show for Ben Davies, now playing in his 11th year at the football club. Again, he's been a great, great servant. We've always said, as much as people knock him for maybe not being the best in terms of ability, what he brings in that changing room sometimes is absolutely valuable. And, mustn't get away from that at all whatsoever. But there was, coming over to you, Luke, another penalty to Tottenham. Xavi was brought down in the box, running onto a Kalamawani knockdown. And once again, Romero, Channel Authority, wanted the Dutchman to take the spot kick. I was wondering, Luke, at that point, Mawani, he has looked good when he's played for Spurs, desperate for a goal. I just wonder, was there an opportunity there to maybe give Mawani the ball? Did they want to give did they want to give Xavi the confidence of scoring back-to-back? What was your thoughts on that for you, Luke?
Yeah, I know. I agree. I actually think Mawani's been very, very impressive. I mean, you can look at goals, you can look at and say that he hasn't scored as many, but I mean, the touch to set up Xavi was absolutely superb for that. The touch to set up Odobert when the ball went about 150 yards in the air and he brought it down. I mean, I feel as his all-round play has been very, very good. And you would want to get him to be a bit more confident, 100%. The one thing I'll say is that Xavi Simons, for me, is going to be a star. I feel like you can build your whole, like Mawani could come in for, I'm not saying don't sign him or anything like that. I think in a couple of years, if we was to sign him in a couple of years, you might be looking at bringing in someone else, etc., etc. I think Xavi could be a player that you build the team around for the next 10 years. I was literally watching him, and I don't know whether it was because of Maddison's appearance yesterday. I was looking at him thinking, them two, if they were balling out when it was Ange ball, and we was just, I could just imagine them two just flicking the ball around the corner to each other and just being absolute. I'm going back to their pomp and absolute. But
don't worry, we're going to ban the other end. Don't worry about what's going to ban the other end.
I'm not bothered by that. We just have Romero smashing someone up in the air, but I just feel like with Xavi, if you've got a fit Xavi, a player that's full of confidence, he is a player that could end up doing some serious things at Tottenham, especially actually in a Frank system. At the start, I understand why he was probably taken out a little bit, but I actually think that the base of what Frank will put in, it almost allows him to just do what he does. And I think someone mentioned it earlier about 10s being luxuries. 100% that's the case. Xavi Simons, for me, isn't a luxury player. I'm not saying he's good defensively, but he works his socks off. He is up and down. The amount of slide tackles, I mean, he's already got a few cards when it could have even been more because some of the tackles that he puts in. But at least that way he's putting in the effort. He's not someone who's just standing around waiting for the ball to come. So I feel like that rubs off on the teammates as well. I want to say a special shout out to Jed Spence, though, because not only did he play well, not only was coming in field really good, he played 3 balls with his left foot today that were absolutely outstanding, that could have been played by a left-footed player. Yeah. And I felt that was one of the problems with him, was that everything was too much down the right-hand side. And even when he got on his left-hand side, it was almost like, I don't really want to be here. So it looks like something's been done behind the scenes for him to say, look, I am playing on left back at times. I need to start playing with this more and more and getting more used to it. So I think that's really an interesting sort of left-hand side down there. But I think Xavi is the key. And obviously, Maddison being out, Kulusevski being out, and we don't have a 10. I mean, Bergvall's played there, Saar's played there. It's all been experimental, as you mentioned earlier. But if we can get Simons fully fit and playing as regular as we can, and we build this team around him, I really feel like we've got a top player on our hands. And I've always said the better the players that surround him, the better he gets. He is the player that wants to be surrounded by good players, and he can thrive off that. So, yeah, it was a real good one, and I think that he could be the difference between us. I know there's a lot of conversations about where we can sort of finish.
Yep.
If he's fit and he's playing and he's doing well this season, I think we'll end up having a good end to the seain for sure.
Yeah, I do agree on that.
Rick, just as a little aside with Romero, couple of things. He had a little bit of a tussle in the first half, and then he was feeling his back, and one of the Slavia Prague players came through to try and do him. And he's hit him, and Slavia Prague player's actually just done himself. And Romero's just looked at him as if to say, what? What are you doing, you idiot? He just bounced off of Romero, and Romero was he's still rubbing his back, and yet he's still... which was just magnificent. But the great Danny Kelly this week as well on TalkSport was talking about the game tonight, and he said, I wonder if we might actually rest Romero this evening and just give him one night off from kicking Brazilians up the arse, which I thought was just such a great line. I love Danny Kelly so much. He's brilliant. But yeah, he's a proper warrior, isn't he, Romero?
Oh, yeah.
Love him to bits. He's South American as they come, but he was brilliant.
It's funny because we were saying over the last couple of seasons that devilment seems to have been evaporating, but it feels like it's slowly potentially coming back into his game. So one to watch for certain, but I do think the way he took the authority in terms of the decision making over the penalties, I thought was a really good look. He seems like he's respected behind the scenes. Players seem to respect him. That's all you can ask for as a captain. And like Xavi Simons now, he waits 90 appearances to get off the mark, and he's got 2 in 2. And Xavi gave Romero a big hug in the celebrations. That was really game, set, and match. And like Luke said there, shout out to Jed Spence, because it does feel that, a player that was often inverted into a throwback last season. He was constantly involved at both ends of the pitch, and like Lou said as well, in terms of that ability he's got on the ball, a late shot saved by the goalkeeper. Again, we've mentioned Archie Gray, another busy performance from him. Mohammed Kudus, good for him to get another goal now. 3rd goal this season for him. Xavi again showing what ability he's got and the impact, like Luke said, he can have on the team. Odebear, yes, faded in the first half, but looked good. I think Odebear, faded in the second half, but looked good in the first half. Again, with game time, with confidence, we'll have to see what these players are going to be about. And I think, again, come on, look very, very lively to some degree. Sarr, bright cameo for him. Bear in mind, Sarr is going to go to the African Nations Cup. So, running out of real opportunities to really give himself a chance to really impress Frank in terms of getting himself back into the first team. And like we touched upon, Conor Mawani, again, decent impact on the team, made some decent runs, I thought, in that game. So again, for him, maybe needs a goal to really bring his confidence up to speed. But it has been a night that, of course, has seen Heung-min Son return to the football club. We're going to hear from Sonny now and give our reaction to Sonny back in N17 and, of course, saying a farewell to the Tottenham Hotspur fans. Let's hear quickly from Heung-min Son. So there you go. That was the legend, Heung-min Son, getting a farewell there from the Tottenham Hotspur fans. Guys, we have to ask you very quickly. A low moment for Sonny, of course, to get that adulation from the crowd. It's not often, Cracks coming over to you, that Tottenham players actually get the chance to say goodbye. And a lot of legends that have come to this football club and not been given that privilege. But Sonny really had the perfect ending, didn't he, to his Tottenham career, to win a trophy, to go out as a legend, and then to be able to return back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the fans there, showing that love. What did you make of that reception for Son and his words as a legend of this football club?
Wow. Well, Rick, I'm utterly privileged to be able to work with some of the club's biggest legends, people like Ledley King and Steve Perryman and Glenn Hoddle, who are just complete legends of this club. Look, football's changed so much since their day. Even in the last 5-10 years, it's changed so much. So the way that you index and calculate what a legend of a football club is, has really changed as well. The game's become just so much more commercial and social media reach and global reach to the days of Glenn and Stevie Perryman and even Ledley King. But Sonny, as a modern day legend, is absolutely up there in world football. What he done for this football club and his global reach, that putting us on the map and getting our name around South Korea and Asia, is just phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Then you add into that, he's actually a fine footballer, an absolutely unbelievable footballer. And then add on top of that, he's a gentleman in the same breath as somebody like Gary Mabbott, as somebody like a Steve Perryman, as somebody like a Glenn Hoddle, you know, a real humble, down-to-earth gent as well. It just incredible what he done for this club on the pitch, off the pitch, and as a person. And you know, as much as I have my thing with Ange and who he was as a manager, he got Sonny to a final and got him to lift a cup, which was such a fitting end for such a fine player. I'm so glad he actually got that as a player on his CV with us. And you can see how much the club means to him and, you know, how much we love him. And in today's football, when you look at what's gone on with one or two other players and what's currently going on as well, and you see the way that he left this club and how he's welcomed back, that's unbelievable. That's absolutely unbelievable. So for me, he is right up there with Steve Perryman, with a Glenn Hoddle, with a Gary Mabbott, with a Dave Mackay, because he's done it in the modern era, way. He is a real football legend. So listen, Sonny, welcome back, welcome home. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the goal, like the Puskas goal and everything else that you've done, and leading this club as a fine captain, an absolutely fine captain. Thank you so much. You will never, ever be forgotten. Tottenham streets will never forget you.
Cracks. Lovely words there. Top words about Heung-min Son. Luke, come over to you. Lovely, wasn't it, for Sonny to get that reception? I think the words he used as well, you know, I'll always be with you. I hope you guys don't forget me. This will always be my home. Just everything about the way Tottenham... And look, I think we've criticised Spurs a lot on this podcast in the past, whether it's about managers, players, transfers. I have to say, the way they've handled the Heung-min Son situation has been absolutely, from my end, top. The only frustration I have is that we didn't replace him, but in terms of the way they handled Sonny, has been top, hasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, the best part about that was that you couldn't see my face when I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm so happy, smiling away. So I'm so glad you had him up there, because it would have had me grinning like a Cheshire cat. What an unbelievable man. What an unbelievable player. Could have been so very different after the first season. Could have been a case of what ifs, him going off somewhere else and everything else. But legend is used far too often by me, by everyone, and he is the definition of a legend, a Premier League legend, a Tottenham legend. And just before we sold him, I had just had a look at through some stats, and I've just looked at him again. He's 101st on the Premier League appearance all-time list, so he just missed out on being in the top 100. He's in the top 20, 17th in all-time assists, and he's 17 all-time goals. From a player that didn't start his career in England, and to play at Spurs as well for some of the poor seasons that we had. Just absolutely incredible numbers. And then someone mentioned it in the chat about his goal some of the goals that he scored are just out of this world. And you do that thing when I was younger, it was always if you cut in from the left and had a shot, you was Robben, then you was Messi. People are doing what Son does when they score goals in the playground, scoring goals like that, especially off both feet. Just honestly, so it just epitomes everything about Spurs, which is fantastic. And yeah, the only thing that was ever so slightly negative is the fact that we didn't bring in someone that was ready to just replace him and him kind of just hand it over and go like, this is your time now. But yeah, just what a legend, absolute legend. He's someone that you can't help but look at and just smile and just think, even in that, you look at that interview he's had on the pitch, people don't understand how much of a superstar this fella is. Like, he is a superstar. And he looks like he would get embarrassed talking to you one-on-one. Like, he's just got that much. He's an unbelievable human. And fantastic. I'm so proud that he's been at Spurs for that long. And as you said, to just take that trophy right at the end, because it would have been one of them where people go, oh, he's your best player ever and he's never even won anything or whatever, but he's just got that trophy, that picture of him when he smacked it on his own head. He's got that trophy. He's just, what a way to top it off. And just to say as well, I think that it was perfect for him to go on, and actually he looks like a superstar now in the MLS. I'm so happy that he's not got to a stage where we as fans are going, he should be nowhere near a squad or he's kind of like, he's gone on to play at a decent level, and fair play to him. He deserves that.
Yeah. Dale, to close it on you with regards to Sonny. The great thing about him is his humility, right? He's actually, you can see he's still so humble to get that amount of love. I'm not sure he actually realises how big a player he has been for Tottenham or will be in the future. I don't think there will ever be another Heung-min Son at Tottenham. And what I mean by that is his character, as Cracks has said and Lucas said, the goals, the left foot, the right foot, the finishes have been, some of them, out of this world. He would have his own, goal compilation. He has been that good. But as well, what I think strikes a lot of us here, and which is, again, what connects this pod to so many people out there, he's a really likeable person, just a really likeable guy. And that really comes across in every interview that he's done, whether we've won a game, whether we've lost a game. All you want from a player is to care about the club the way we care about it. And you can just tell Sonny, not only does he care about the club, he loves the club now, doesn't he?
He does. And we love him. And that was shown today in the stadium and will be shown forevermore. We love him as much as he loves us. And one thing I would say, because I think Luke and Crackers have said everything that needs to be said about him, the only thing I'd add is, if you are a young player, if you are a parent with aspiring footballers, boys or girls, that's a player to mould yourself on. That is an all-round player. And I'm talking not just on the pitch, we're talking off the pitch. He has a handshake with every player in the squad. He has a connection with everybody at the club. He has a way of, as you said, Rick, being so humble and has levels of excellence when he steps on the pitch that some people dream about. Left foot, right foot. His ability has never really been highlighted to the level of a superstar, because we always look at legends are used far too often. But he is a player who, I would say, if you are a young aspiring footballer, you can look at your Mo Salahs, you can look at everyone around you. They all have their faults for me in terms of humanity, in terms of the way in which they apply themselves. And then on the pitch, you look at Heung-min Son, and you've got a player for me who, if you're young and you want to be a footballer, look at what he has done in his career, the way in which he has handled difficulty, the way he has handled success, the way he's handled his ups and his downs. That's someone who I would be molding my game on, because he is an absolute legend of the game and an honest, superhuman being. God bless that man. And we say, we love him.
We do.
Do you know what, Rick? As you go up and down the country on trains to away days, and you end up on trains with fans of other clubs, be it Sheffield or Newcastle or Cardiff or Exeter, and you go into pubs and there's people there, Tottenham fan, and you get chit-chatting, and everybody, to a man, woman and child, will say, you can't dislike Son. You cannot dislike Son. And if you're in that space when people from other clubs say, Yeah, Sonny, what a player. And he seems such a really good guy. And what a great representative he is of your club. Then you're something. Then you are someone. Because if you've made no enemies, you might in that 90 minutes when he scores against you, obviously. But, you know, after when you're on a train, a plane or a pub or whatever, and they go, yeah, Sonny, he seems such a really good lad. I like Sonny. I like him, and you don't even support Tottenham, then you're somebody and then you're something.
Spot on. Such lovely words. Honestly, such lovely words for a legend of this football club. Guys, it's been a great show, a lovely, lovely ending. Cracks, thank you for coming back. We're going to see you ducking and diving between the January and Christmas period around the Crackers household where everybody's coming in, they're coming out. It is quite like London buses there. So, Cracks, thank you so much, mate. We're going to send you loads of love. Cracks,
thank
you.
You.
A quick mention to any gigs you got coming up, Christmas presents, anything you want to give a quick mention to?
Oh, I'm flying in on Thursday and I'm doing a night for Echo 61 Friday night. There's a few tickets left. That's down in Surrey at Tyrrell's Wood Golf Club. That's with Razor Ruddock on Friday night. So if you're around the Leatherhead area, do come along. A few final tickets left. That's my last one for the year. Back in February, back with a bang in Hereford with Sir Les Ferdinand, of all people. So I'm doing that. Off to the mighty Dorking on Saturday. You know I have a soft spot for Dorking Wanderers, up the Wanderers. And then up
to... I'm convinced Cracks is going to leave us for the Dorking Wanderers. The last word on Dorking Wanderers.
They're actually live streaming the pre-match.
Here we go. He's going already. There you go.
And post-match dressing room from the manager, Turks, Mark White. That will be something to tune in for. So that's that. Yeah. So up.
Got a transfer my hands. It's not even January the 1st yet. I'm losing one.
And then Sunday, I'm off up to Nottingham with my eldest lad, Will. So we're going up to there for the game, then flying back home Monday for Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you so much, Cracks. The last one on Dorking. We'll see you there. Cracks, what you? Where's this show going? Dale, lovely to have you back on. You're also ducking and diving. We know you're busy at this time of the year, festive period. What's going on in the world of Darren Hart? Let everyone into it, mate, because there'll be a lot of families out there that might be keen to know where you are ducking and diving.
Bless you, my man. Well, what I've done this year is I've been kind to you people. If you do want to find me, rather than travel the country to find me in a panto, I'm bringing it to you. It's on TV. It's on iPlayer. I've been a part of the CBBC Panto Cinderella. So it was in cinemas throughout the early part of the month. Now it's available on iPlayer. It will be there through forever now. It's going to be there for the next 5 years. BBC will keep it there forever. But it's going to be on Christmas Eve. It's going to be on that morning, I think 9:15 Christmas Eve it's on. But if you want to watch it at any point, you just go onto iPlayer, Cinderella, Panto, BBC, CBBS Panto. There it is. I'm there doing a lot of madness, enjoying, having a lot of fun, doing PAs up and down the country, supporting the show and just putting it out there. And yeah, busy always. And T-Talk on Tottenham is still happening. We're still doing it. Myself and Ricky Norwood. Our 6th episode drops now. So it's there waiting for you when you go over there. So yeah, happy days. And I think this is my last one before Christmas. So I'm going to wish everyone here happy Christmas. And of course, I'm going nowhere. So I'll see you very much in the new year.
Dal, you're a superstar. Send you loads of love. And again, I get a lot of people messaging me and go, I've just seen Dal in the cinema. I mean, at one point, he was fighting to get out of the cinema regardless of Spurs. That's a different story for a different show. Dal, you're going to start.
My face is out there. Bless him.
We love you very much. We're going to see you in the new year. Luke, thank you for your time, mate. You're back, I know, on Thursdays. I'm with you this one coming up. I believe I am with you this one coming up. And you're every Thursday. And Luke, I know you're back with us Sunday and pretty much throughout the Christmas and New Year period. So welcome, and you'll be sick of us by the time the end of the year comes. But
yeah, I was gonna say, unlucky for everyone else, I'm still around and you're still going to see me on here. So sorry about that, guys. I won't wish you a Merry Christmas because you'll see me a bit more, unfortunately, for you lot. But yeah, thanks. Look at this. What Spurs can do to us, eh? A couple of wins and look at us. We're all smiling and happy. Merry Christmas a month or a few weeks early. So yeah, it's been a good one, and long may the form for Spurs continue for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Luke, you've been a star. Thank you so much. Luke over at Spotlight on Spurs, dropping every Thursday. Go and check him out. Guys, we've had a good 4 days so far. Tottenham, back-to-back wins, Forest on Sunday. Crackers is there, ready to be all Sean diced up, but hopefully in good rather than bad scenarios. Let's see how cold it's
I'm
been
on a
down
9:30 train out of St Pancras on Sunday morning. You know I'm going to have a bag full of Stellas, didn't you? 9:30. That's a bacon roll from Greg's and a bag full of Stellas. Nowhere else I'd rather be in the world.
I'll tell you.
Come on, Spurs!
Nottingham don't know what's hit them yet. That's before we line up. Cracks, you've been a star. Thank you so much. Honourable Darren Hart, thank you so much. Luke, we're at Spotlight on Spurs. Guys, Spurs, we're turning the corner. Now it's time to accelerate during the festive period. From Luke, from the Heart Man, from Crackers, we've been the last one on Spurs. Please keep safe, keep well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.